think for the design of transport hubs, it's about all the different disciplines working together to achieve the best outcome, whether those are engineers, whether they're planners, whether it's architects, or whether it's wider stakeholders. And the aim really is to design something, a place where people want to be, an area that delights. Too often, I think, transport hubs have been designed around operational reasons. Bus stations are a classic, for example. And operational aspects are obviously important, but it's sometimes it can be too easy for the people side of it to be neglected.
Yeah, it's curious. If you look back to the way the early engineers in Victorian times designed railway stations, so there was no precedent for a railway station. So they kind of dream up what it was. Yes, they'd figured out how to design a train, and a train was going to carry certain things from one place to another. But they very quickly realised that the train station was a multi-modal interchange. So it combined a canal with a railway, with a road. It brought goods in by horse and put them on a train, and off they went, and other passengers would arrive and walk out of the station, and other passengers would arrive and get on, in London, on a steam underground railway system. So they very, very quickly became these sort of hubs of activities. They nearly all combined freight and goods with passengers, and gradually the freight and goods has been displaced from those interchanges.
It's very important, this word vision, I think, because it's very important to have a clear vision of what these incredibly important, really public buildings can be. They're almost the last public buildings. They're really the sort of lifeblood of the city, and I think this vision is very important. But behind that vision, achieving the vision is very difficult. And architects do need to engage with all the other disciplines involved. The architects might be a small part of the team, and so it's very important they understand with and engage on all the different levels that these really mega projects come together.
The experience is remembered in terms of, for example, in a rail station, you remember and you recall the station experience, and you recall the architecture and the environment that has been created rather than the infrastructure. So we have an incredibly important part to play in that, but it's going way beyond the station architecture and the infrastructure into the city.
Engineers clearly have a major role to play in the heavy infrastructure, but architects, I think, have a role to play in defining the place, giving a development a sense of place, its integration within the urban fabric or the suburban fabric, providing a clear understanding of passenger flow, but more importantly the broader issues involved with commercial development and the need to serve the broader community, not just the travelling community.
Well, I think the answer is in your question in some way. Providing they retain visions and they remain visionary, I think there's a role. And I think we don't see ourselves as sector-driven or sector specialists, and it's not the way we operate, because we cover art, we cover sports, we cover a lot of other different elements. And I think due to the complexity of these problems, I think it goes beyond purely engineering problematic about transport and connection. So I think there's a role for architects who are pluridisciplinary and also can actually engage and bring together different disciplines. Because I think the questions are more complex than the answer that actually one discipline can bring.